Thank you for staying with your most credible news source, the JoyNews channel. Apart from the NDC's protest, another major event happening in the country is a public inquiry into the EJURA killings, and it started already. Currently, the Ashanti Regional Minister is before the committee. Let's take you live there.
In line with the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act, Act 1030, and specifically Section 5 that establishes Regional Security Council. Then Section 6 that gives the membership of the Regional Security Council and also makes the Regional Minister chairman of the Regional Security Council. And Section 7 that gives the function of Regional Security Council. Which includes maintenance of peace and security in the region. The commanding officer, as I requested, dispatched some personnel to EJURA to support the police in the maintenance of peace and security. Later in the day, while I was in the meeting of the regional minister, at AH Hotel in East Legon, Accra, I received unfortunate news that there had been shooting during the maintenance of peace in EJURA, and 2 lives have been lost. And others injured. I also received information that some properties had been destroyed or vandalized. The following day, I had to quickly organize Regional Security Council meeting. That is on the 30th of June, 2021. Where I received briefing on the incident at EJURA.
Honorable Mayor, ask please, where was this meeting held? Not exactly where, but Kumasi or Accra?
The meeting was held in Kumasi.
Okay. Thank you.
At Yasan.
Honorable, don't worry about the details.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we agreed to move to EJURA the following day, the 1st of July, 2021. To have first-hand information on the ground. When we got to EJURA, we first called on the police. For briefing. We were later joined by the Minister for Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry. Together, we went to the palace of EJURA to meet the chief and his elders for briefing. From the palace, we called on the family of the two who died during the incident, and Kaka, who also clubbed and died. All the three families, we visited them. During the visit, the Minister of Interior gave some money for the initial expenses, even though we had been informed by EJURA that he had also paid for some of the initial expenses. While the amount, 7,000 to each of the families, so 7,000. From there, we visited the three families of the injured. Unfortunately, we met only one. The remaining two were still at the hospital. The one we met, if I remember the name very well, is called Nuhu. But I've forgotten the other name. He was injured in the thigh, and it had been bandaged. So he went to EJURA hospital, he was treated and discharged. So we met him. The remaining two were still at the hospital. And as I speak, One hour is still at Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. The other injured was sent to Duayang Nkwanta Hospital. Actually, I've not been there. On the same day in the evening, that is on the 1st, and I received some video showing some of the footprints of whatever happened. Some of them...
Please go on, you can go on.
Some of them indicating that from the video, some youth were chasing the police water cannon vehicle. Which the police was using to disperse the crowd.
Honorable, do you have the said video clips that you are talking about?
Yes, please, I can. I have it on WhatsApp. I can WhatsApp them to the committee, if you so wish.
We will have to play it first and see if it is relevant for our work. Then we will get the IT officer to download it.
All right.
Yes. Yes, Richard. IT, please, can you show it? No. Come on.
Or is it not downloading?
Richard, are you encountering any problem?
The one that I'll do for you. All right.
Thank you for staying here on the JoyNews channel. This is our coverage of the public inquiry into the EJURA protest killings. What's currently happening is that the Ashanti Regional Minister, Osei Mensah, is testifying. And just at the point where there was a break, he made reference to a video which he describes as protesters throwing stones at a police water cannon. And so the committee wants to view that and see if it will admit it or it is relevant to its work. So that's what's happening, and that's why there's a bit of a break there. But now I'm handing over to Mama V Owusu Abuaje, who takes over with the coverage of this particular public inquiry, and she'll be joined by my other colleagues, Raymond Akwa and later Winston Amwa. But she'll take it over from here, recap what we've heard the Ashanti Regional Minister say so far. Mama V.
Thanks a lot, Dennis Abubedo Lansa. We'll take you back to the venue where the probe is underway. But just so you know, the Ashanti Regional Minister has been telling the three-member committee that, first of all, he was in Accra when he received the news of the incident. The Regional Security organized a meeting the following day in Kumasi. They went to EJURA the day after, and then later joined by the Interior Minister. They both went to the chief with that entourage. They called on the family of the deceased. This is the first gentleman who was killed. And it was after that incident that, the protests and the later killings happened. So he did mention that those who got injured in the process, well, that team that visited EJURA also paid some courtesy calls, except that it was only one of them that they could visit because 2 others were still in the hospital. He disclosed that the Interior Minister made a donation of some 7,000 Ghana cedis to cover expenses for those who were in hospital. And so that's what's been happening so far with the regional minister's testimony before the committee. What the team is trying to do is to retrieve some evidence, he says, is on his WhatsApp on his phone. And so they're trying to verify if it's a piece of information that will be helpful to their work before they can share it publicly. The 3-member committee that was set up by the president following the disturbances in EJURA. We have Justice of the Court of Appeal, Justice George Kingsley Kumsin, who is chairing this committee. Also on the committee is security analyst Dr. Vladimir Enchidanso and the executive director of Pen Plus Bytes, Juliet Amoa. Marie-Louise Simmons, a principal state attorney, is serving as secretary of the committee. Raymond Akwa is with me. We will do some analysis how far we have come with this particular probe. Remember, this is not a commission of inquiry, as we saw in the case of the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election events. This is a ministerial probe, as we have it. We will be talking about the differences between the two, what is likely to happen after this committee's work. The president gave some 10 days within which they had to investigate what had happened. Raymond, first of all, we've been counting down. So where are we in terms of the days? Or we start counting from the very day the committee begins its work, which is today?
There's some confusion as to that. First, the indication from the president's statement was that you have 10 days from the date that we have actually sent you this message to commence work. But we understand the 10 days is supposed to be seen as when they start working. So perhaps that's how we should be looking at that. Because I'm reading again, the statement says, the Interior Minister is to provide a detailed report from the inquiry with recommendations for appropriate actions within 10 days. And give some more details. That is by 9th of July, which is my birthday, 2021. So ideally, Friday is when they should finish their work. When it says within 10 days and gives a date, the indication is that that is the period you're supposed to function. But as we have known over the period, sometimes when there is a difficulty, they go for extension. And that is done with the agreement of those who have the authority to extend it. In this case, the people who set them up on the instructions of the President of the Republic of Ghana.
All right, well, let's try and check what's happening, with this probe. Let's get back to the venue. All right, so it looks like checking of that piece of content and sharing is still not ready. And so we'll just give you a bit of background. Of course, the president's directive followed the death of social activist Ibrahim Mohammed, who passed on Monday, 28th of June this year after he was attacked by a mob when he was returning home on his motorbike on Sunday at EJURA in the Sitre Dumasi district of the Ashanti region. He's alleged to have been killed. Some say because of his activism, but we know that in the last couple of days, there's been some updates also from the police, Raymond. So police is still investigating this matter. But it was on the day that he was to be buried that, some young persons, obviously unhappy about the situation, decided to show their anger. We're not sure how the police came into contact with them at this point. I guess all these will come up in the course of this investigation. It is to unravel the events leading to the death of some other persons. But fortunately for us here at JoyNews, Erastus Asari Donko, our colleague in Kumasi, who will be joining us in the course of this coverage, and the other team members captured what was going on with those visuals that we brought to you. So we did see how the killings happened. So Raymond, let's talk about the work of this particular committee as we have it today.
So basically, the responsibility, as is in the statement that we're given, is on the instructions of the president directing the Minister of Interior to work a public inquiry into the circumstances that led to the unfortunate occurrences on Tuesday, 29 June 2021. First, there's been some concern about, and I've been asking whether that has also been laid out. Mostly, there will be a more detailed terms of reference given to them. Specifically, the questions they seek to answer with this inquiry and what information they seek to find. Inquiries of this sort are fully fact-finding. So what really happened and which incidents led to what happened on the 29th. So that's what they are supposed to do generally. What has happened over the period, and if you recall, for example, when the Chief Justice set up that committee, and that was also based on some call by others within the judicial system, when the Chief Justice set up that committee to probe the missing of some cocaine or substances which were deemed to be cocaine, which was called the Chief Justice Committee of Inquiry into Cocaine Saga, one of the issues that happened was that were they to be given specific indicated terms of reference, or the broad indication that was given them in the letter that they were appointed with was enough. That was resolved by they coming out on their own, and even in their report to suggest that they had the free hand to deal with all matters relating to, as is leading to, and during, and the conduct of the people who had been involved in the matter right from the beginning. So in that case, they lined up lots of people, including the judge whose court the matter was in, the circuit court registrars who were involved in the matter, and basically all the police, what they call narcotic control officers. It is a similar expectation that this one has to go through. Unlike a commission of inquiry, there's some free hand in dealing with this matter. Commissions of inquiries would have insisted that certain people wouldn't have been qualified to be part of it. For example, a judge. They say a superior court judge cannot be, according to the details involved. And it would have also prevented certain things from being part of the conversation, going outside the scope which you have been given. The other issue that was not, and of course, the difference is pretty clear. So the point here is that we are expecting them to, within the days given, or if extended, prepare a detailed report, submit it to the minister, and it will be the minister's report to the president. So these people are just basically working for the minister, and the minister has a duty to report to the president. And if you have seen, the president is not asking the minister to indicatedly set up a committee of this kind of people. It says, give me a report of what happened. So you do the inquiry, whichever system you find, then you bring it to me, then I'll go ahead. There is a basic element in there. Mostly, commissions of inquiry require some independence. If you read the judgment of Justice Mafusau, in that case, the Republic versus Rekubube and Impiani, he details why there's a need to make it independent people. So people will believe in the process and also follow it to be a fact-finding one.
And this is the commission, what you're talking about is the commission that looked into the Ghana at 50
Brilliant. So, you know, Rekubube and Kojumpian, who was former chief of staff, were dragged to court. Justice Mafosa had to determine whether or not they could be dealt with in court on the matter.
Because there was a commission of inquiry
yes.
that had heard, just as we saw in the Ayawaso West Walk, they came before the committee, shared, you know, their thoughts. If
you see that judgment, Justice Mafosa took us through why a commission of inquiry is important, and over the years what has happened and what ought to happen in the future. Well, unlike that, this is a bit different, and this goes through perhaps a less stringent procedure in law. That is where the difference really is.
All right. We will come back with a lot more comparisons, or we can take you back to the venue.
They were attacking the police and even the water cannon vehicle that the police was using to spray water on the crowd to disperse them. The angry youth were chasing the vehicle. And the driver did very well, reversed because they were going facing the vehicle. If the driver had moved forward, definitely the casualties would have been more than what we witnessed. Fortunately, the driver could reverse up to a point where he had a bypass to use, avoiding running into the crowd. At that point, as I was informed, then the military moved forward for the police to go behind, because that method to disperse the crowd failed. It was during that period I was told that the incident of whether shooting or whatever took place. But as to who gave the shots, I have not been told yet. Or to say it has not been established yet. I was also informed that one Abbey, A-B-E-E, Abbey Wakaz, W-A-K-E-Z, Wakaz, went to Accra to organize a press conference that the deceased, that is Kaka, was a member of the Fix the Country campaigners. It was also alleged that Kaka was a member of the National Democratic Congress in EJURA. He returned on the night of 28 June 2021 and reached EJURA on 29th June 2021.
Honorable, please, who are you talking about? Who returned?
Abbey Wakaz from Accra back to EJURA. And went to the cemetery with the youth. And after the burial of the body of the late Kaka, requested the youth to march to town and start their actions. And that is where the whole crisis started. And we got to the point where we are now.
Okay, Honorable, may it be made clear, can we find out this information about how things actually occurred leading to the shooting? You said you received information. Was this information part of the briefing you received? Official briefing, or it was information you received generally?
It was part of the briefing, that's the shooting. It was part of the briefing because the meeting took place on 30th June, and the incident had taken place on 29th of June. So it was part of the briefing. But the case of Abi Wakaz, I was told in EJURA, that is on the 1st of July.
Not getting.
She asked whether the information about the shooting.
Yes, we know, but what I'm saying is that kindly speak to the microphone so that we, at this side, we can.
All right, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay. My Lord, the witness has completed his evidence.
Where is the IT officer? Are you set? You can show. We will wait a little while. We are about to finish the downloading so that we can play.
Let me try to forward to them.
Please give us a few more minutes, and the panel members will then, after watching, they could ask you some.
Yes, Honorable Minister, whilst we are waiting, members of the committee will have opportunity to ask questions for clarification or whatever nature for you to answer. Okay, my sister.
Honorable Minister. Honorable. Is it working? It's working now. Is it working now? Okay. Honorable Minister, how would you characterize the people of EJURA?
How do I characterize?
The people of EJURA.
Oh, I should say they are very good people, they are nice people. I've been there on several occasions, even during political campaign. I've been had opportunity to work with Kaka sometimes. Until this, I've not seen much problem. But EJURA, anytime there are elections, is marked as one of the hotspots when it comes to politics. During elections, we always mark it as one of the hotspots. And it has been a hotspot because it's one of the few constituencies that the National Democratic Congress most often wins. The MPP has won it only once. So anytime there are elections, the tension is very high.
Now, Honorable, you said you received information or intelligence about the actions of the youth. And what was the source of the intelligence? Was this official or from the community? And related to that?
The person called me on my phone and told me, and several people called me, but I cannot divulge information, the source of my information. I cannot.
So these are from the community and not from the intelligence units that, or agencies that are state-owned?
Some came from the intelligence agencies, some came from the community.
Honorable, you say that you immediately on the 29th called the Operation Calm Life after you'd received some information. Why was this the first group of persons that you would call and not the police service, for example?
Yes, I called Operation Calm Life on 28th of June to go and support the police to provide security there, because already they had attacked the police station. And I had asked the regional police commander to send reinforcement. It has been one of my security strategies since 2017, where I realized it's difficult for the police alone. I called the military or whichever of the security agencies that would be relevant in that case. Sometimes, for instance, when we are going to fight illegal miners, galamseyers, we even add immigration, so that after arrest, they can even screen the people to know whether we have foreigners among them. So I've used strong collaboration among the various security agencies in the region. Again, it's not the first time. As far back as 1992, I wouldn't even go to the First Republic and Second and Third Republic, under the Fourth Republic. As far back as 1992, when Operation Cowleg was established, it was a collaborative effort between the police and the military. Currently, Operation Calm Life is collaborative effort between the police and the military.
Thank you.
The fight against what people call Fulani herdsmen in Agogo, which, when I took over the administration in 2017, had been there for 25 good years without solution. The fight had always been collaborative efforts between the police and the military. In 2017, we added additional leg where the military provided air services to detect the direction of the animals and communicated with the ground troops, which enabled us solve the perennial problem that we had at Agogo, Ashanti Achimago. And as we speak today, Ashanti Achimago that used to buy foodstuffs from Jaso, Kondongo, Ejoso, etc., to go and eat. Now, because of that joint effort and the success of it, Ashanti Achimago is exporting plantain to Ouagadougou. Say that we have Ashanti Achim plantain market in Ouagadougou, and they are exporting maize. So this collaborative effort has helped me since I took over in 2017.
Very well.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yes, Honorable. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Well, I think from your experience, you've been at the forefront of managing or fighting crises when they emanate in your region. You cogently quoted the Security and Intelligence Act, very cogently. But this committee, one is a fact-finding one, and at the same time making recommendations. I'm going to start from that end. I hope the same, the Intelligence Act that you quoted has one way or the other helped in given a certain structure at the strategic level where you are involved, take strategic decisions at the operational and tactical levels. Are you sure the act was fully obeyed in this instance?
Yes, it was obeyed under the circumstances. Security issues, there are some of them you can go through the whole process. There are others, if you do that, the end results will be chaotic.
Exactly, that is my point. And we need to find out whether we need to further elaborate on the act. In this instance, you called in the military at a point when you know the police are overwhelmed. So you called in. Did you have at least an emergency meeting at the strategic level to be able to call in the military?
One, it was an impossibility.
Come again?
It was impossible to call the strategic meeting. I was in a meeting in Accra, regional ministers meeting in Accra. Two, if I had wanted to call the meeting, the only possibility was through Zoom. Meanwhile, we had people at the forefront and events running. So I couldn't jeopardize the life, many lives of the people of EJURA and also the security agencies. So there and then, I had no other option but to call in reinforcement from the military.
So how does the RegSec work? If the minister is not available, then RegSec does not work?
And previously, when we had deputy ministers, anytime the regional minister wasn't around, the deputy minister took over. Under the current circumstances, what we have agreed at RegSec is that in the absence of the regional minister, the regional police commander will coordinate affairs.
All right. The police have their own standard operation procedures, and the military have their own. In crisis management, we call it interagency cooperation. And so if one agency who is in charge, it can be NADMO. If NADMO is overwhelmed, they know whom to call. They know whom to call. Did you see that working? Because from where I sit, I know if the police are overwhelmed, they go through the process to call in the military. And they give them a briefing. And they meet to at least work out a joint operational strategy. Did that happen in the EJURA case?
In the case of EJURA, it would have been very difficult to have that because the police were already in the thick of affairs. So withdrawing or taking time, say we are regrouping and taking a security strategy or something would have been difficult. So you see, under such critical circumstances, Prof, you have to consider the life. That is why I've said even that the man, if you are lucky and we are able to play the clip, the driver of the water cannon vehicle must be rewarded because he took a very intelligent position to reverse, even though it was risky. Because the language they were saying, I don't understand Hausa, but those who interpreted to me said, we defeated them, they are running away, So, assuming the vehicle has stopped, nothing at all could have happened.
Honorable, whilst I agree with you that in such circumstances it's difficult to follow procedures, it is worse when procedures are not followed and more lives are lost. In my experience, and we teach them, I was not saying the police should stop, but on the ground, there is a way to call in the military, brief them before they also take a strategic position.
At least what I can say at this point is, once they ask the military to come forward, definitely some discussions went on.
Come again?
Once they ask the military to move forward, not always the police will lead, and the military will give them the support. But once the police ask the military to come forward, it presupposes some discussions went on.
It is this takeover position which I strongly will recommend for this committee to let government know. We train them together. Unfortunately, these things are not done. But maybe because the politicians also interfere.
I cannot say it under such circumstance. This particular circumstance, I won't say it. The political side I don't like is after somebody had hit Kaka with whatever, maybe a stick or something, I don't know the object. And then his subsequent demise. And people said he was an NDC, which is not true, which was on the airwaves all over. And that he was a member of Fix the Country campaigners. You know, these one inflamed passions the more. That's the political twist I didn't like. Maybe if this angle had not come and we had allowed the police to investigate and know the culprit, maybe we didn't have gotten to where we are now. So I agree with you, sometimes some of the political comments is not favorable and they don't help this country.
Thank you, Honorable. Finally, my point to you. What would you recommend to the committee in cases of crisis management using the police and the military?
To me, I've used this strategy all this while. This is the first time we've had casualty. I think we should continue with it, but there should be more education and that we should improve upon the communication between the various security agencies and as to how to act under such circumstances.
I said that was my final round, but please again, this is more directly to you. What would you recommend about Ghana's, the canopy on Ghana's indiscipline?
What I would recommend is that all persons...
In the first place, do you accept that Ghana is so undisciplined?
I accept it.
Good. So
there are a lot of indiscipline in the system. Because if it's not indiscipline, how on earth, youth, some of them around 10 years, 12 years, chasing water cannon vehicle.
So what should the nation do as a politician?
What we should do is that, one, we people at the top of affairs, we should be very truthful to ourselves and say the truth as it is, irrespective of the consequences.
Who bears the cat? Who starts it? Who bears the cat?
We the politicians.
Thank you.
Yes, Honorable, you have given us a video of certain parts of the incident that happened in EJURA. Can you tell the committee the source of this video?
Some of the people who were giving me the intelligence, they sent the videos to me. And as I've said earlier, I can't divulge the sources. Thank you.
Can you help us get the person who did the recording of the video to come and testify?
It will be very difficult because tomorrow they won't give me. It will be very difficult because tomorrow I'm afraid people will not be willing to give me information.
Very well. Honorable, we want to assure you that if the person is willing to come, we will hear his evidence in camera, and his identity will not be disclosed.
Distinguished members of the committee think that the source is Simon Osei Mensah. What I said is that take it that you got the video from Simon Osei Mensah, the regional minister.
The fact is that you did not take this video by yourself. Somebody recorded it. And if we want to interrogate the video recording, you may not be in a position to answer questions emanating from the video recording. However, yes, we know that for security reasons, certain persons may not want to appear in public to testify. But we want to assure you that we can take evidence in camera where we think the necessities require.
Okay, my Lord, I will consult the person, and if the person is willing, I'll bring the person.
Let me find out from you also. Did you ever contact the MCE of EJURA Municipal Assembly?
After the issue, I've spoken with him. Unfortunately, he traveled to Accra. After the incident, he was in Accra for the vetting of MMDC's at Jubilee House.
So since then, you have not met him personally?
No.
We want to cut the video. Is that all? Yes, we have seen the video. I will still come back to my question. You see, this is a video of part of an incident. You understand? And if the committee will have to know the entire story, whoever took this video recording should be able to appear before us, for us to interrogate him, because it is like when a boxing match is going on, then first round, one of the boxers is knocked down. That does not mean the fight has ended. It starts from round 1 and ends at maybe round 10 or 12. Along the line, the man who was knocked down gets up and he wins the fight. You understand? So, having recorded this fraction of the evidence, maybe he has more of the evidence in his custody. That is why we want him, if you can advise him to come before the committee to assist us with whatever evidence, further evidence that he has, to enable us unravel the truth.
My Lord Chair, if I bring the person, is going to make my management of security in this region difficult. All that then I want to say is that nobody should give me any intelligence again. Because I've put all my numbers out there at various radio stations, that anytime you have information, you can reach me on these numbers. And people voluntarily give me information that is going to cease. I'm afraid.
Honorable Minister.
It will seriously affect my management of security in this region.
Very well. Honorable Minister, since you received the video, have you shared it with anybody within EJURA to identify that this indeed was EJURA and this isn't a different community, or verified that the video was taken at the time at which you say it was taken?
I have had discussions with the police, and they confirmed that it was in the
video has been confirmed as having been taken at the time and also within the EJURA constituency.
Yes, please.
Remembering
and I put it on the Regional Security Council platform.
And this is important because you yourself have said that EJURA has always been a hotspot. There's been various incidences, and so this could well be one of those incidences, and the tape could well be doctored. And so it's important that we establish the authenticity of the tape?
Yes, by the time maybe you finish hearing all the witnesses, if there's a need to call me and come and testify again, I'm prepared to do that. If by that time you've not had enough, invite me again, I'll come.
Honorable, we will accept the video and we'll decide as to whether or not it portrays what exactly took place on that day in EJURA. Please admit the video in evidence and mark it as Exhibit A. Yes, Honorable. I'm coming back to the earlier issue. You know, the mandate of the committee is to ascertain the truth and advise and make recommendations accordingly. Yes, it is the duty of every Ghanaian who has information that will assist the committee to arrive at the right decision and to make appropriate recommendations. This includes the security services, informants, and under the rules of courts and our laws, a person may testify before the committee or a court when, in the view of the tribunal adjudicating or sitting on the matter, the identity of the person who is to testify will be in jeopardy. To take the testimony in camera, meaning that only that person will appear before us, not in the office. The media will not be there, but for us to interrogate him further on the happenings in this video clip. I will therefore plead with you once again to reconsider and to reassure whoever sent you the video to think about coming to assist us to get the needed evidence and information for our work.
My Lord Chairman, I'll discuss with the person. If the person is prepared to appear in camera, I'll bring the person. Whatever he says, I'll get back to you. But I will not damage the life of the person for the person to come here and sit in public. I can't. I cannot do that.
Honorable, you have all that right. But the point is this, that to assist the committee, I'm not a lawyer, but the little I know is that your video may be thrown away because you are not the author. You can't identify anybody in there. But if we get the person who comes to us, I mean, we have a way of recording and reporting. In camera, we can let him aid us to get to the bottom of this matter. Nobody is going to be imprisoned just because you have appeared before us. But if you don't do that, then this video is of no use to us. That's the bottom.
Prof, the video is from the regional minister. I will not danger the person's life. I won't.
Very well. We are grateful to you, Honorable, and you are discharged. We thank you for finding time to testify before us.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. If there's a need to recall me, I'm ever ready.
We will do so.
Thank you.
Thank you. The committee will take a recess and will notify you all later. Okay.
And that's the end of that first witness account. The Ashanti Regional Minister, who is also chairman of the Regional Security Council, Simon Osei Mensah, appearing before the three-member committee and giving his testimony before the committee. He's been talking about event leading to happenings in EJURA, particularly on the day that Kaka was being buried or was buried. He showed the committee some evidence which was to suggest that some of the protesters, some of the young people in EJURA had first attacked the security personnel on the ground. Winston Amoah has joined us. We're just going to do some analysis. First of all, we will talk about what has happened, but let's also go back to Kumasi. Erastus Asare-Donkor is our colleague there, you know, at the venue where the probe is happening. Erastus, let's talk about the very beginning before Simon Osei Mensah appeared before the committee. What was the rules of engagement spelled out by this committee?
Rules of engagement, we were told that the terms of reference was to interrogate and investigate the circumstances surrounding the disturbances in EJURA, and so those were the terms of reference. However, we were told that they will invite certain individuals. The floor is open, but then certain individuals, it's mandatory for them to appear before the committee and see.
And these are the they mentioned multimedia in personally. They said that mandatorily we will have to be appearing before the committee because we covered it live, and the footages in the system, many of them came from the multimedia group, that's JoyNews, and so we will have to appear before them. Another institution is the Ghana Police Service, the military, and the head of RESEC, which is the regional minister who has just appeared before the committee. And so those are the mandatory institutions that are supposed to appear before the committee. Aside that, the floor is open. They've extended invitations to members of the families of those affected, the dead and the injured. They've also thrown invitations to the chief of EJURA and Nananum, the traditional council, and then the Muslim community as well. So basically those are the parameters they have given.
Did they say, Erastus, the number of people appearing today?
We've not been told the number of people, but we've just been told that the regional minister has appeared. We were invited to also appear before the committee today. So it's during the recess that we'll be able to get information from the secretary to the committee. I've been trying to look for her to give us what will be happening next. It looks like they've gone into a short meeting. So I will be able to get information as to who is appearing next before the committee.
Erastus, the regional minister showed the committee a certain video. We got the opportunity to watch, but I'm not sure it was as close as you had that opportunity. So can you describe to our viewers again what is in this video that the regional minister tendered into the committee?
Well, so this is a video that has already gone viral on social media, and when we asked about it when we were at EJURA, we were told that that incident occurred at the cemetery when they had buried Kaka and they were returning. There was the police water cannon vehicle that came in there, and then they chased the vehicle, as you see in the video, throwing stones at the metal-cased water cannon equipment as it left the scene. And so we are told that that was at the cemetery when they had already buried Kaka. That's what we were told when we were in EJURA. But the regional minister tendering that in evidence before the committee wanted to probe further. They wanted to know the source of the video. They wanted the source to come before them. So they will establish whether indeed the source has more information, more videos concerning that particular incident and all the other incidents, so that it will help and assist the committee to unravel the circumstances that led to the casualties that were witnessed during the demonstration. But that is what the regional minister is saying, that no, he will jeopardize his administration, his credibility in front of his sources as regional minister if he should of this person who gave him the video. And the committee was saying that they will do that in camera so that the media will not be asked to come. They will do that in their chambers so that the person will have the opportunity to come in there and assist the commission. But the regional minister said, no, he's not going to jeopardize the safety of that particular source by bringing the person in front of the committee publicly. So he kept going and insisting on a stance that he's not producing the person to come before the committee to sit in public. That would jeopardize his safety, and he will not be having people sending him information as regional minister if he does that. So that's the back and forth between him and the committee, and finally he insisted that no, he's not going to do that.
Erastus, just before I allow you to also grab a cup of water, if you like, before the committee gets back, help us understand. Did they talk about the number of days that they will be sitting for? Because we know that the president directive said 10 days, except that we don't know when the 10 days started counting down, if you like.
Exactly. The committee has 10 days to sit. They are going to sit every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So today, for instance, we're going to close at 4 p.m. But then the chairman of the committee, Justice Kumsin, told us whilst we were at the EJURA that indeed, if after the 10 days they still have people queuing to give evidence or to testify before the commission, then they will have to extend the days or the time for their sitting to enable them listen to everybody and be able to assess more information as they need. So he said if need be, they will extend the 10-day period to be able to cover everything. So that's what we've been told so far, Mama.
All right, Erastus will allow you to take a snack break. Erastus Asari Donkor is our colleague reporting live for us on the ongoing probe into events leading to the killing of some persons, and then also, we know that some other people are also injured in that protest and that clash, if you like, in EJURA. We're not sure if it was still a clash, but we're just going to cross over